Casey, are you there?
I am here.
Yay! Hey, Casey.
Hi, G. How's it going?
It's going all right. So we're going to be getting into the next part of Judges today, and you want to hear about what we're going to be talking?
Yeah, chapter 17 and 18, yeah?
All right, I'm going to fuck this up really good. So, starting in chapter 17, we've got Micah, who's a real shithead. Micah, and he's going to corrupt the fuck out of Dan. Let me tell you what Micah does. First of all, he steals from his mom. And then he lies to his mom about finding the stolen money that he actually stole. And so the mom thinks that she's going to be all high and fucking mighty, and she's going to go and melt some of them shekels down into an idol. And then they're going to worship it. Probably going to use them as like, the little anal dildo things.
Oh my god.
Plugs. Yeah, that's what they're probably going to do. I mean, you remember in the in the other part of the Old Testament how God loved to shove things up his ass. Well, no, actually,
whose ass?
Well, no, I mean he loved to shove fireballs up other people's asses. That's what it was.
You said he loved to shove things up his ass.
Well, yeah. On the Ark of the Covenant, he had those like gold, like little anal plug things that he had built upon it so that he could bend down and like ass fuck himself. That was in it. So anyways, they end up somehow creating a whole new religion and everything like that. Upon creating this new religion, they just so happened to find a detractor from the Levite priesthood who was just walking around wherever the fuck they were staying. And then Micah actually pays him to become the priest of their new religion and trying to validate it, I guess, with the other Jews, or not Jews, but Israelites. And it was pretty important at this time that there was no king. There was no king whatsoever. Dan, he was seeking a place in the world, and he ended up sending out about 5 warriors, and they found Micah and the Sidons. Well, Dan gets the wild hair up his ass, and he's like, well, you know what we're going to do? We're going to go and we're going to steal all them idols and the Levite priest that's over there. Then we're going to go fucking kill all these people, and we're going to set up shop in their city, and we're going to worship the anal butt plugs. And Micah doesn't like the whole plan, but, Dan's pretty much like, we will fuck you up if you don't let us take your shit. And then Dan continues to rule in whatever fucking city they're in with the anal butt plug idol gods. And that is today's lesson.
Yeah, it's pretty short, unlike the anal idol butt plugs.
Yeah, those are pretty long. I think they were probably about 8 inches and studded.
So, but it was only like 200 shekels.
It's neither here nor there as to how much they melted down. I mean, 200 shekels worth of idols. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, that could make at least 8 inches.
No, I don't think
it might be pencil dicked, but
Oh, okay. Well, I guess that's fair.
Yeah. What's up, heathens? How y'all doing? So I hope you liked that little bit of an intro. I know I went a little bit liberal with my interpretation of today's Bible, but as you know, I'm shit at interpreting the Bible.
Is that what you do? You're a little bit liberal with it?
Just a little bit liberal.
Today actually wasn't too bad.
I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I doubt that there's butt plugs in the Bible.
There are no butt plugs. I think people know, like, the stuff that's, like, totally off the wall.
No, well, okay, so probably the butt plugs don't come in until the baby Jesus is born because of, baby Jesus butt plug.
Baby Jesus butt plug, yep.
Shove Jesus right up your ass.
Yep. We wouldn't even talk about jackhammer Jesus.
No, I mean, that comes kind of later, probably when he's getting nailed to the cross.
Yeah.
That's when jackhammer Jesus actually comes in. So
accurate.
We'll mention them at the appropriate times.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry. So are we ready to go?
Yeah, let's go ahead and start today's lesson.
All right. So we're going to just do 17 and 18 in Judges today. And we're going to start off with Micah. And do you want to talk first about, like, why this is important in Christian teaching in regards to having one person
sure. We can go ahead and
mislead?
discuss that.
Go ahead.
Well, okay, so basically these 2 chapters are about how one minor sin can infect and bring down an entire tribe of Israelites. I almost said Jews, but I corrected myself in my head. And so this kind of piles on top of the Christian, some Christian theology over, other people's behavior and how that affects them and why they seem to be so concerned with other people's lives when it doesn't affect them in reality. In their minds, according to their Bible, it does affect them and it will bring them down. It's kind of like the whole, Houston was killed because of the gays, or Houston was destroyed by the hurricane because of the gays, or
Houston was killed.
Yeah, Houston was killed. Or mass shootings happen because we're falling away from God and all these other things. It's all centered around that. It's also centered around throwing shade to subjective morality, and you have to attribute ultimate morality or whatnot to God. And if you're not following God's morality, then you're just dissenting into sinful nature. Madness, sinful nature. You're going to suffer the wrath of God, all that other kind of shit. So, these two chapters are basically chapters that explain that entire line of thought.
You know what I think is interesting, though, is that the Israelites are really bad at keeping each other in line. This whole chapter of Judges is like, I don't even know how long a period of time we're talking here, but it's like 40 years with this judge, and who, becomes like their king, judge, king, leader, whatever, kind of same deal. And then you have 40 years without, and then 40 years with, and then 40 years without, then 20 years with, and 7 years without. You know what I mean? Like they're going. So I don't even know how long this period of time has been in their history, but they're really bad with keeping each other in line. That's why God has to keep appointing these judges, right? Is because they keep falling out of line, and so they're just really bad with keeping each other in check.
Yep,
so even though Christians kind of teach it this way, the Israelites don't operate this way. They're supposed to. Like in the books of Moses, when you go through the laws, part of it is keeping everybody in check. Part of it is every single year going through all the laws, and every 7 years doing this, and every, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So their law structure is set up to make sure they all stay in line, but they don't.
No, they get lazy and they cut corners, and they remember things like anal dildo beads. I'm sure. And they're like, I don't know about this, guys. You're sure that we're supposed to stick this up our ass and say 10 prayers? That's what it says right here. There's no way this could be smudged. Stick it up your ass.
While I watch.
Don't mind what's happening under the cloak.
Uh-huh. Okay, so a man named Micah from the hill country of Ephraim said to his mother, "The 1,100 shekels of silver that were taken from you, and about which I heard you utter a curse, I have that silver with me. I took it." So in 1,100 shekels of silver is about 28 pounds, or 13 kilograms for those people who use metric. But we're imperialists, so...
You just got to deal with it, people.
Yeah. So his mother said, "Lord bless you, my son." When he returned the 1,100 shekels of silver to his mother, she said, "I solemnly consecrate my silver to the Lord for my son to make a carved image and a cast idol. I will give it back to you." So I think it's really weird because they're talking about God, right?
Yeah.
They're acting as if they're doing this to worship God, but this is totally against the rules.
Well, yeah, it is, but, they don't give a fuck, and they're just going to make these idols to shove up their ass later.
Oh, okay. So he returned the silver to his mother, and she took 200 shekels of silver and gave them to a silversmith, who made them into an image and the idol, and they were put in Micah's house. Now this man Micah had a shrine. He made an ephod and some idols and installed one of his sons as his priest. In those days, Israel had no king, and everyone did as he saw fit. So they had their own household king, or not king, sorry, priest, which was really super weird.
Yeah, but this also pertains to, like, before with the judges, they had it lazily put that, they just, they started to sin again, and they fell into bondage for whatever group. And I feel like this is a more like micro look at it, because this is like this is like an example of one of the sins that they commit.
Accurate, yeah.
Yeah, and so I feel like they're trying to be devout to their God, but like you said, they're just fucking it up.
Yeah, they're doing it in
everywhere.
totally the wrong way. And I think it's good that they put an individual example, because like you said, in the past, in the rest of Judges so far, we've seen like this macro level, they fell into sin, or they fell out of the ways, or whatever it says, that they did bad things again.
Right.
Okay. So this is an individual example of one of those. So I think it's important that this is included to give an example.
Right.
So a young Levite from Bethlehem in Judah, who had been living with the clan of Judah. If you remember, the Levites were spread out amongst all of the Israelites. They were the only tribe who didn't stay as a tribe.
Right. They were spread like butter.
Yeah, because they were all of their priests. So he left his town, he left Bethlehem in search of some other place to stay. We have no idea why. He just decided to leave. On his way, he came to Micah's house in the hill country of Ephraim. Micah asked him, "Where are you from?" "I'm a Levite from Bethlehem in Judah," he said, "and I'm looking for a place to stay." Then Micah said to him, "Live with me and be my father and priest, and I'll give you 10 shekels of silver a year, your clothes, and your food." So the Levite agreed to live with him, and the young man was to him like one of his sons. Then Micah installed the Levite, and the young man became his priest and lived in his house. And Micah said, "Now I know that the Lord will be good to me, since this Levite has become my priest." So even a Levite, who is like, they're the closest connection to God remaining, right? The Levites. But even a Levite fell to the side.
Right. And he was a defunct Levite, right? Right. He was like, that one elf in Rudolph that left the shop
To be a dentist.
Because he wanted to be a dentist. This is that particular elf.
In those days, Israel had no king, and in those days the tribe of the Danites was seeking a place of their own where they might settle, because they had not yet come into an inheritance among the tribes of Israel.
Fucking Dan.
Dan's long dead.
His descendants are fucked.
Yeah, they're not too bright. So the Danites sent 5 warriors from Zorah and Eshtaol to spy out the land and explore it. These men represented all their clans. They told them, "Go explore the land." The men entered the hill country of Ephraim and came across the house of Micah, where they spent the night. Micah's house is like a fucking train station. Does he live right on the main drag?
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like, this house is a jumping.
When they were near Micah's house, they recognized the voice of the young Levite, somehow, even though they didn't live in Judah.
Well, you think that maybe the Levites were like the really effeminate men of the time? I mean, they were priests, so they were fucking the little kids.
Different kind of priest, honey.
Well, no, actually, there is a significant pedophile problem in the Jewish faith as well.
Accurate, but these aren't Jews.
Well, I know that they're not Jews, they're Israelites. I'm just saying, I mean, they become Jews eventually.
Eventually. So they recognized his voice, and they turned in there and asked him, "Who brought you here? What are you doing in this place? Why are you here?" He told them what Micah had done for him and said, "He has hired me, and I am his priest." Then they said to him, "Please inquire to God to learn whether our journey will be successful." The priest answered them, "Go in peace. Your journey has the Lord's approval." I don't know how he would know this.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the problem with being psychic, honey.
The Levites aren't psychic, though.
I mean, they pray to God.
A lot of people pray to God. That doesn't make them psychic.
They're psychically transmitting their thoughts to God in another realm. I mean...
See, now when you say it that way, it just sounds crazy.
Yeah. You consider what they're actually doing.
So the 5 men left, and these are the spies. The 5 men, they're the spies. and came to Laish, where they saw the people were living in safety, like the Sidonians, unsuspecting and secure. And since their land lacked nothing, they were prosperous. They also lived a long way from the Sidonians and had no relationship with anyone else. So they were kind of isolated out there.
See, isolation makes you crazy, people.
So they returned, the spies returned to Zorah and Eshtaol. Their brothers asked them, how did you find things? They answered.
They answered, well, we just kind of looked around and we found shit, and that's how we find shit, sir.
Yeah. So they answered, come on, let's attack them. We've seen that the land is very good. Aren't you going to do something? Don't hesitate to go there and take it over. When you get there, you will find an unsuspecting people and a spacious land that God has put into your hands, a land that lacks nothing whatsoever.
You know those memes where it's like it's like one of those things like, oh, we found these people over there. They have luscious land. And then you got your weird friend that's like, let's go in there. Let's gut them. Let's rip their arms out of their sockets and beat their children with their testicles. And you look over, it's like, is everything okay at home, Dave?
You doing all right, buddy? Would you like some tea?
You need a Snickers there, but I mean, it just kind of popped out of nowhere. I was like, let's take them over and let's steal their land. God gave it to us.
Well, that was the point of the spies from the beginning, right?
Yeah.
To go find some place to go. But you're right. The way that it comes off is a little bit
much
Fruit Loopy. Yeah. So the Danites move forces. 600 men from the clan of the Danites, armed for battle, set out from Zorah and Eshtaol. On their way, they set up camp near Kirath Jearim in Judah. This is why the place west of Kirath Jearim is called Mahana Dan. That has a meaning. Oh, Mahana means camp. So it's Mahana Dan is Dan's camp.
Okay.
I wish we had like a map. There's probably one out there. A map of like of the Middle East today with all of these fucking names where they were.
Yeah.
Right? That would be funny. Of course, some of the places there's no way to tell where they were.
No, I mean, it's just like, oh, we went to the camp of Dan. It was wherever.
You know what I feel like if it was an icon on the map, the little icon on Red Dead 2 that for the camp where his tent is, I feel like that's what it would be.
Yeah, except it would it would be like one of those ones that's over a huge area and just has a question mark. And it would just be over the entire Middle East.
So this is why the place was called. Okay, so Mahana Dan. From there, they went on to the hill country of Ephraim and came to Micah's house. The 5 men who had spied out the land of Laish said to their brothers, do you know that one of these households has an ephod, other household gods, a carved image, and a cast idol? Now you know what to do. I don't really know what that means.
Well, it means you know what to do. You go in there, you take that idol, you shove it up your ass, and you walk out like nothing's happening.
It might be a little uncomfortable.
Why are you walking so weird? No reason. And he like waddles out. And it's like, it looks like you got something up your ass. No, I don't.
So they turned in there and went to the house of the young Levite at Micah's place and greeted him. The 600 Danites armed for battle stood at the entrance to the gate. The 5 men who had spied out the land went inside and took the carved image, the ephod, the other household gods, and the cast idol, while the priest and the 600 armed men stood at the entrance to the gate. When these men went into Micah's house and took the carved image, the ephod, the other household gods, and the cast idol, the priest said to them, what are you doing? They answered him, be quiet, don't say a word. Come with us and be our father and priest. So like they're kind of threatening, and they're like, hey, why don't you come be our guy? Isn't it better that you serve a tribe and clan in Israel as a priest rather than just one man's household? Then the priest was glad. He took the ephod and other household gods and the carved image and went along with the people.
It's like, we can either slice your balls off now, or you can come with us. And it just seems like there's not really choice to be made here.
Right. I agree. So, putting their little children, their livestock, and their possessions in front of them, they turned away and left. When they had gone some distance from Micah's house, the men who lived near Micah were called together and overtook the Danites. As they shouted after them, the Danites turned and said to Micah, "What is the matter with you that you called out your men to fight?" He replied, "You took the gods I made and my priest and went away. What else do I have? How can you ask, 'What's the matter with you?'" The Danites answered, "Don't argue with us, or some hot-tempered men will attack you, and your family will lose their lives." So the Danites went on their way, and Micah, seeing that they were too strong for him, turned around and went home.
Wait, so they overtook the Danites and then was like, "Oh shit, yeah, no, we can't overtake you."
So I feel like maybe, like in my mind, the Danites are going down the road, and Micah and his group of, his band of merry gentlemen, like just blocked the road or something. You know what I mean? Like standing in the road and stopped them.
Right.
And then we're like, "What are you doing? You took my shit." And they're like, "We don't give a fuck. Get out of our way or we'll kill you." And so,
and Micah's like, "Oh, okay, all right.
Fuck it.
Just so you know, I use that one butt plug tonight."
So they took what Micah had made and his priest and went on to Laish against a peaceful and unsuspecting people. They attacked them with the sword and burned down their city. There was no one to rescue them because they lived a long way from Sidon and had no relationship with anyone else. The city was in a valley near Beth Rahab. The Danites rebuilt the city and settled there. They named it Dan after their forefather Dan, who was born to Israel though the city used to be called Laish.
Well, I mean, it's like, where are you going to, Dan? Oh, like his house? No.
No.
The city, Dan.
Yeah.
Where the fuck is that? Oh, it's over there.
Over in the valley. over in the valley. Then the Danites set up for themselves the idols, and Jonathan, the son of Gershom, the son of Moses, and his sons were priests for the tribe of Dan until the time of the captivity of the land. They continued to use the idols Micah had made all the time the house of God was in Shiloh.
So, yep, the Danites worship butt plugs, people. No, they're not really butt plugs. They were idols, and I want to say some Christians don't know whether or not these idols were like pagan idols or whether they were, they're pagan idols or idols of their own god.
Well, and it's interesting because they talk, like, when the mother, in the beginning of this section, when the mother made the cast idol, it was supposed to be like a thing for worshiping like God, like Yahweh.
Right.
But Micah didn't use it in that way. And even if he did, he had other things that he had made gods, which I'm not sure what those were. The other gods of his household. So
probably like a spatula and a rolling pin and like, hey, this spoon right here.
Hey, those are the gods of the Whammons.
The Whammons?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You worship the spoons and the spatulas?
Spatulas. You can never have enough spatulas.
Do you sacrifice small animals to them?
With them.
Oh, with them? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. It takes a lot longer to kill them with the spatula.
Kind of a tangent here, but like, is it considered killing a chicken when you cook eggs?
No.
Oh,
eggs are unfertilized.
Right. So I guess it would be the same thing as like, Plan B.
What? Eggs are unfertilized.
I know.
Oh.
I was trying to be funny and it didn't work. Anyways.
Dude, I laughed. You heard me laugh. I laughed. So next week?
Yes.
That's all for this week. I know it's kind of a short story, right?
Yeah, it's really short this week, but the Micah Dan debacle is kind of important to their theology.
Yeah, and so do you have anything else to add about any of that?
No, Micah's a dipshit and Dan's a dumbass. Dumbass Dan. That needs to be a channel.
Yeah. So next week, we're going to talk about the civil war within the tribe of Benjamin. With the tribe of Benjamin. And we're going to get into, I think this is the last of the judges this week. or I'm sorry, next week, we're going to go through Judges 19, 20, and 21.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that seems to be the last 3 chapters.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about really how bad the Israelites have fallen into apostasy, right? It's bad. And that they're practicing, they're doing pagan practices. Everybody has idols. They're terrible.
I think this is pretty much just a setup for the next set of stories, though.
I agree. It's like a season finale.
Yeah,
Set it up for the beginning of the next.
Yeah, because Samson was the very last judge, and there's usually a time where there's no judge or anything to rule over the Jews, and then something happens and redeems the Jews. So
Yeah, and it's interesting. There's in this preview for next week, in this at the very end of Judges, it says, actually I think it's maybe the last verse of Judges says, in those days Israel had no king and everyone did as he saw fit. So
except when there were judges.
yeah, except when there were judges. So it's interesting how that works out, that you start that way in Judges because you need them, right? Because everybody's doing whatever they want. And then at the end, it's like this is a summary of this fucked up period of time. And then we're going to move into Israel as a monarchy and with Samuel.
Okay. Sounds good. I guess, is that the start of Kings?
No, Samuel.
Samuel. Okay.
Yes, we're starting Samuel. And
All
we'll
right.
be in Samuel for a little while.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. I can't wait to see how Samuel fucks everything up, because that's how it always ends.
Yeah.
But anyways, heathens, if you want to get in on the Skeptic Mafia podcast that we put up right before this one, it's only for the Skeptic Mafia members who either join here on the channel or they become a patron on Patreon. So either way, you can do that. There's a simple join link here. I believe it's $4.99 a month plus tax.
YouTube got to get theirs.
Yeah, so $4.99 to be part of that. You can also use the custom emojis and the premieres and the live chat, as well as members only section of the community tab.
And we should be able to get some more custom emojis soon, yeah?
Oh yeah, I think I have a few slots that I need to fill up.
Yeah, so the more Skeptic Mafia members we have, the more emojis we can have.
Yep. So become a Skeptic Mafia member today, and I guess we will see you heathens later.
Don't forget to stand up and use your voice.
Bye, heathens.
Bye, y'all.